Well, alrighty there, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to Warhorse 33.3. You can probably hear some banging and some lawnmowers and stuff going on in the background, but that's just life, and we let it happen around here. So anyways, what I want to talk about today is, of course, the Bible, and I want to talk about how the New Testament and the Old Testament are intrinsically combined and interwoven, and how this whole book is really one book, okay? And the Old Testament, the New Testament is concealed, and in the New Testament, the Old Testament is revealed, okay? And the Old Testament, you have the law, which no one could fulfill, and the prophecies, which were yet to be fulfilled through Jesus Christ. And in the New Testament, you have the law fulfilled in Jesus Christ being the only human being that could walk the earth and follow the law to the letter, and therefore he becomes the embodiment of the law, and he fulfills all the prophecies about him in the Old Testament. So therefore, the Old Testament and New Testament are completely and totally integrated and completely and totally connected. This Bible is one entity, not two, okay? And Jesus, okay? Jesus is the Word made flesh, right? So if Jesus is the Word made flesh, okay, then when Jesus teaches, he's going to teach from the Word, that of which he is. So with all that being said, I can't think of a better time than now to segue into my lesson, which is going to be on the Good Samaritan. Although it's not really going to be on the Good Samaritan as much as it's going to be on how Jesus teaches from the Word, okay? And what a lot of people don't realize is what you will soon find out. So stay tuned. I'm gonna show you something. Some of you may know, but I guarantee you that there's others of you that don't know this, that would like to know this, okay? So here we go. I'm going to read to you the story of the Good Samaritan, and that's in Luke chapter 10, starting at verse 29 and ending at verse 37, and away we go. But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper. 'Look after him,' he said, 'and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense that you may have.' Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." Okay, so this is the story of the Good Samaritan. It's a lesson Jesus teaches, and it's in the book of Luke, like I said, Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, starting at verse 29. Okay. Where did this story come from? All right. Well, we're going to go to Chronicles. Give me 1 second here to get to Chronicles. Okay. All right. Here we are. Chronicles, chapter 28. 2 Chronicles, chapter 28. All right, starting at verse 15. Okay. Pay close attention now. The men designated by name took the prisoners, and from the plunder they clothed all who were naked. They provided them with clothes and sandals, food and drink and healing balm. All those who were weak, they put on donkeys. So they took them back to their fellow countrymen at Jericho, the city of palms, and returned to Samaria. So these were Samaritans. And Jesus, in the New Testament, tells the story of the Good Samaritan. Where did the story of the Good Samaritan come from? It came from 2 Chronicles in the Old Testament. Okay, so the Word made flesh, when he teaches from the Word. It's awesome. So this concept is wild, but I mean, it's the truth, and the truth is unwavering. Okay, and the truth of the matter is that everything in the Old Testament points to Jesus, who is the Word made flesh, and everything in the New Testament is Jesus fulfilling the very things in the Old Testament that were prophesied about him. So one could put it like this: the Old Testament and the New Testament are mirrors of each other. Christ is King.